Mario from Croatia. How you doing, mate?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. And you got loads of things you want to talk about today.
Yeah.
And one of the things you want to start with is paganism.
Yeah. Because we constantly mention it, many times. But, so let's clarify, uh, how does this thing really look like, in our mind and in our vision, How do we really see it? We constantly talk about it, but how do we really see it?
Okay. Well,
The-
how do you really see it?
Well, I see it through the visions, you know I would say like this is the most precise way to describe it through the visions of the past, like usually of the Middle Ages, and just having these visions of how the things look like, and maybe that I was living some other life in those times.
Right. Okay. That's interesting because I often feel like that too. Now, I'm just going to read a Google excerpt so people know what, or at least have some idea what paganism is. It
Mhm.
says paganism is a broad term for modern polytheistic religions inspired by ancient nature based traditions. It involves a reverence for nature, the divine in the natural world, and the worship of multiple gods and goddesses. Key characteristics include veneration of nature and the cycle of life, a diversity of beliefs and gods, and a focus on personal spirituality rather than authoritarian rules. Key aspects of paganism are this: reverence for nature. Many pagans believe the divine is present in the natural world and that the cycles of birth, growth, and death hold spiritual significance. Polytheism, pantheism. Often pagans worship a multiplicity of gods and goddesses. Others may see these deities as representations of the divine or cosmic principles. Ancient roots. Many modern pagans traditions are constructions or recreations of ancient belief systems from Europe and other religions, using archaeology, folklore, and historical texts. Um, then diversity. Paganism is an umbrella term for many different traditions, including Wicca, Druidity, heathenry, and various other nature based and reconstructive faiths. Personal spirituality. Paganism is often a non authoritarian religion, with individuals finding and expressing their spiritual beliefs in their own way. Now, all those things I concur with. The way I see paganism is I'm a natural world worshipper, a sun worshipper. I believe in the natural cycle of living and dying, and that we should deeply respect and have a great level of reverence for the natural life, with no encumbrances of any authoritarian dogma.
Yeah.
And so you see paganism as
Yeah, it has like many layers to it, and like you said, this is definitely one of them. Also like worshiping the sun and everything, but somehow underlying feeling behind it is what I see is like this deep, deep vision or a feeling of something really distant, but also really familiar.
aha.
And it's yeah, and it's really actually really hard to explain it, or maybe not even possible this
Well,
film.
would you think it's kind of like relating to the numinous, the spiritual nature of the cosmos, some sort of a higher being? We call that cosmic God consciousness or something like that. Because the way I see it is, I feel the essence of what we could say is God. There's an essence of something which is the everything, the essence of the everything. It's in nature, it's in us, it's all pervasive. And, we could call that spirit, we could call it consciousness, we could call it life, in relation to like the soul, all these things. For thousands of years, the human being has felt something, and it's deeply rooted in the human being and in the earth and the cosmos. And so, whatever that is, then, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, should be. And yeah. Also, like you say, it is like of awareness of this higher being, but also I see this as like some awareness of some ambiental atmosphere. I would
Mm-hmm.
also put a big, big, you know, caption on this. I really feel this atmosphere, ambiental atmosphere. You know, and this is also like a part of it. So it doesn't have to be awareness of some being, but also just awareness of somehow of ambient. Do you also get this
Yeah.
feeling about this?
Well, I mean, for me, I've stated for many years that I never felt I was alone, and I've never been lonely, and I've spent lots of time on my own, but never for a second alone, never for a second lonely. And in the latter years, I started to realize, well, that is because there's obviously something there, some guiding force, some spirit that we can have a relationship with, we can get more and more in touch with as we become more spiritually evolved. Now, in the early days, I knew that I was never alone, so therefore there must have been something there. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you don't feel lonely, if you don't feel alone, then it must be because you don't feel alone. And if you don't feel alone, there must be something there. What was it? Well, I didn't give it too much thought in the early days, but in later years, with all these supernatural spiritual experiences that I was having, I
Mhm.
started to get a deeper and deeper and richer relationship with it until it became so strong, so powerful that now it's with me all the time, and I just know, and that's why I say that I don't see the world like people have been indoctrinated to see it. It's something vastly over and above anything we can ever imagine. It isn't a physical world, and I really don't believe in this. We're seeking for love, and we follow Jesus, and all. They're just metaphors.
Mm.
It's just nonsense for silly people, really, to be frank, because if people that speak about Jesus all the time, you just say to them, for goodness sakes, there's 8.5 billion people on the planet, and there's 4,000 religions and thousands of gods, and you, in your infinite stupidity, you think Jesus is the one, and none of the others exist. Well, that's just preposterous. It's the height of ignorance and stupidity and naivety, and so I'm just not buying that bullshit. But what I've learned in my life is Jesus is a metaphor. Allah is a metaphor. Yahweh is a metaphor, Jehovah is a metaphor, Krishna is a metaphor. They all pertain to the same thing, and this is this higher thing which we have always known, and we have related it to some sort of paganism, whereby we're not worshipping names and we're not following dogma in Scripture. We all know what it is because we all have it within us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it is also maybe a search for, as you said, like you don't feel alone. But many people, I know some people that they could never imagine living alone. Without having a partner for a moment. When they broke up with one partner, they immediately found another one, and they could never imagine being alone, even if it means fighting constantly. But they somehow just cannot picture themselves living alone. And this is really interesting part. Like for me also, I more and more, I'm trying to make myself aware of this consciousness that is always with me, as you say, to never feel alone, because you always know there is this higher consciousness, and how can you then be alone? And yeah, I'm also like constantly, making myself more and more aware of it. And sometimes it seems that it is somehow hiding away or something, but most of the times I also feel like quiet, not alone.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think it depends on how busy our minds are,
yeah,
because when you've had this deep, rich connection, when you've had samadhi, and when you have had such profound connections through a whole number of spiritual phenomena, when you've felt that connection, then you know how profound it is. And then we can find ourselves at certain times in our life slipping away from that. And I have often, pondered on that. I've said to myself, hang on, I'm slipping away out of the numinous. I'm
yeah,
falling back into the matrix. I'm being drawn back into the matrix. You see, the matrix is a very beguiling thing, and it's always enticing you back. Let's just say,
yeah,
if we get overly involved in what's happening around the world and all the conspiracies and this, that, and the other, you find yourself getting involved in all that and getting vexed and angry and this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden you realize that, hang on, I have lost that feeling. I've lost that connection. And
mhm,
then I go
mhm,
walking out in nature, in the sun, and I get it back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is somehow, as I was talking to my friend yesterday, I said this is this is an interspace. This is the interspace. This is something out of this world, and you have to find a way to it. And there is no path to it. There is no way to it. We can say we can go out into the nature and into the sun, but still somehow we have to find this interspace.
Yeah, it's a state of
Yeah,
mind. It's a state of
yeah,
consciousness.
yeah,
And, you know, those of us who do feel it, when we are out walking in nature and we want to try to express it to people that we're with, we realize that they just don't get it. They don't see it. They don't feel it. They have no idea that it's there. And
yeah,
I've encountered this so many times in my life, um, where people just are not in that realm. But then, on a few occasions, I have had friends who know, they sound like they know exactly what I'm speaking about. And they can often say things which I know, yes, that's it, you know what it is. Because, look,
yeah,
it's just the difference between I used to go walking with a lady friend, and as soon as we get into a wood or something, she'd say, "Can you feel that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, uh, of course I can feel that." As soon as we get into the wood, there's another feeling. There's the feeling of the spirit, something like that.
Yeah,
And but other people, when they're walking their dogs, they don't feel it. You can see that they're not feeling it. You know, they're just droning around walking their dogs, because if they were feeling it, then you'd see them looking at everything. You'd see them gazing up into the sky almost incessantly, because that's what it makes you do, in wonder
yeah,
and in awe. And you look very closely at everything that you come upon, and you take the greatest of interest because you're feeling everything. But
yeah,
most people, they're dead to that. And why are they dead to that? Well, because they have been indoctrinated into another way of thinking. Their consciousness has been hijacked, and the cosmic spirit is dormant within them.
yeah, yeah. And also, one of the things would be they would also lay on the ground and feel the ground, and I guess you know what I'm talking about. You know,
Yeah, you get your
but
bare feet on the ground.
yeah,
You hug the trees. You smell the grass. You kiss the
yeah,
flowers.
yeah, yeah,
You worship the sun. You know all these things.
yeah,
Um, it's just really, really indicative that we have this greatest connection. Whereby when people don't do that, well, they don't know that.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. I have never seen anyone doing this kind of thing except when I was on this rainbow gathering that I was telling you one time about. This is just like one of a kind uh, places and times where you can see something like this. But usually in this normal world, this is just impossible to see that somebody would be doing something like this. Except for me, I don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody can only in my area. Somebody can only see me, doing some kind of ritual in the middle of the hill where there are some stones and things, or hugging the trees, or laying on the ground. I will be like one of those people who will be doing this.
and
And
so, do you feel like an alien, in this world? I'm always saying that I feel like an alien, and I'm always appealing to my viewers to see if I can get some spirit. I'm just trying to extract some sense of spirit from them, but invariably I can't do that. It's only a
yeah,
very, very rare few people that have this spirit, the cosmic consciousness. There's a lot of people that think they do have it, and they're drunk on their own self hypnosis. The sort of people that talk about Jesus all the time. It's not
mm,
real. It's just a
yeah,
fantasy. It's self induced. I mean, do you watch Russell Brand at all?
yeah. As you were talking about him, then I checked out on him.
Okay.
Also, yeah,
Yeah, so he's
and
always every single video he's talking about Jesus, Jesus. The only thing is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And at the end of the
yeah,
day, I can't see it in him. I
yeah,
can't feel it emanating from him. When he
yeah,
speaks about Jesus, he's not touching me.
yeah,
So I know that it's just a fantasy, a creation in his mind. It isn't a real essence.
yeah. Well, I had to say that I could not listen to him more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
While I can listen to you, for hours and hours, to eternity. But him, he was like, he got me bored like pretty soon.
Yeah.
So definitely, I don't see much life in his words.
No, there's no
Uh,
life there. And in view of the
yeah,
fact that he's always stressed and he's always wanting to give up what he's doing, Um,
Mhm.
and I was listening to a video with about five of these people who have found Jesus in recent times. And they're all proclaiming that they are tired of the world and they just want to run away. Well, it doesn't sound to me like you have Jesus then. This love and this beauty, and you sound as cursed as the rest of human beings, if you ask me. So I ask, what benefit is this praying to Jesus, 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 or nothing? It's just a fucking hideous fucking self conism. It's a fucking fantasy, and I've never been able to feel anything emanating from these people who profess that they are devout Christians. It just isn't there.
Mhm.
But if you speak to someone who is spiritually connected, you know in an instant. You feel it in an instant. It's tangible. And every breath that
Yeah.
they take, every look that they look, you know it's there. And you go, yeah, that person's got it. So
Yeah.
isn't it bizarre?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I mean, I can see. I can make sense of uh, Christianity in a way that it gives some moral standards and things. Some basic moral standards, and to look upon it from this perspective, it makes some sense. But to put like just one historical person on a throne, this is also for me complete bullshit. And I don't know where these people went wrong, where their minds went
Yeah,
wrong.
you know,
I
I,
just
I
cannot.
yeah, I've studied, Christianity for 17 years now, even longer. Since I was given the Bible when I was 27 years old, but very, very deeply for the past 17 years. And
Mhm.
all of these so-called Christians that I've ever listened to and I've ever met, I've never ever felt that love, that power, that essence of what Jesus was speaking about when he's saying that the kingdom of God is within you all. It ain't out there. It ain't in no mosque. It ain't in no synagogue. It ain't in no church. Right? It's within you. It's a state of mind. It's a consciousness. And yet, the vast majority of people haven't found it. There's millions of people proclaim to be religious. They're as dead as dodos. They have not fucking found it.
So, well, I would say that also that real Christianity, original Christianity, is actually just a mix of like Egyptian philosophy and Greek philosophy and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And this was like the real message of it, like this Hermetism. This was like the true message of it. But these days, or in recent, I don't know how many hundreds of years, people took just one side of it and somehow transformed it in some illusory way. And this is the problem. But original Christianity, I think this thing had much more to itself, because
Yeah.
it contained all the paganism also.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there was no such thing as Christianity uh,
Yeah.
before Christ's death, of course.
Yeah.
So, what was Christ worshipping? What was Yeshua ben Joseph worshipping? He was worshipping the God that is in everyone, and he says, "Look, it is within you, and it is without you, and yet you do not see." And so that wasn't he wasn't talking in the books that never made it into the Bible. He wasn't talking about a God in the sky and all
Mhm.
that sort of nonsense. He was trained with the Essenes, a Gnostic sort of Christian sect that used to live out in the desert, absolutely alone. He used to be very strict and austere. He trained with many other varying sects, and they knew that there was an essence to the human being, which was a higher essence than the egoic essence. They could feel the presence of spirit in the world because we can even today. I feel it everywhere I go. I look out of my window and I'm there, and so once we grow into that, then it never leaves us. But for a couple of thousands of years, people have been taken away from that. They've been taken away from the land. They've been told that paganism is the devil and it's evil, when in actual
Yeah,
fact that the reverse is true. They've been told to look into the dead desert dogma scripture and believe in all that nonsense that they don't comprehend and they've had no relationship to whatsoever. How many people in the Western world have a freaking clue about what it was like to live in Judea or any of those regions 2,000 years ago? We haven't got a freaking clue. And
yeah,
it's just so absurd on so many levels. But what they've done is, through the advent of baby Jesus, they've made baby Jesus all very Western and very pretty looking and
yeah, and white skinned.
yeah, and white. It
Yeah,
just makes me sick to my core,
yeah, it
uh,
doesn't make any
and
sense.
I don't have any time for anybody that
Yeah.
espouses this nonsense.
Yeah. But that's what I was also conveying. This biggest bullshit of it all, that is our history. Like the system has put this theory in us, this vision that we have a clue, like what is a history. But even these days, while many things are recorded, by the cameras, by the audio recording, we can only record like 0.000000001% of our reality. But when there were no any cameras and any recorders, like in the Middle Ages, imagine how this time actually looked like. It is impossible that we have any clue about the Middle Ages. And
Yeah,
this is the thing that I want to talk about and that I want to put our minds upon, you know, to really try to envision the real Middle Ages that we just cannot know anything about from
yeah,
our history books and bullshits that we have been told.
yeah.
You know.
Well, I feel where you're coming from. This
Mhm.
in recent times, I was speaking with AI, and I was asking AI if it could tell me from its perspective what it would be like to look through the eyes and perception of a primate. What would a
Mhm.
primate see? How would the primate see the world? Well, a primate wouldn't see blue and green and red and all those things because they're concepts. It wouldn't see
Mhm.
oceans, it wouldn't see sky, it wouldn't see trees, it wouldn't see rocks. It would see something, but it wouldn't have any concepts or words for any of these things. And so, if there's no concepts to anything, then everything blends into a oneness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if a bird
Yeah.
flies by, you see the bird, you don't go, well, that's a blackbird or that's a seagull, and you label it and then dismiss it. No, there's a bird flying by, or there's something flying by. There's a creature that's there. You don't know about
Yeah.
flying. You don't know about birds, but there's things happening. So, how would we perceive the world from that perspective without language and without concepts?
Yeah. Yeah. This is what I want to extract from you and from everybody. This thing. because this is how the people in Middle Ages also perceived the world. That's how I see it. They were much sensory receptive and much more sensitive to everything, to every sound, to everything. Imagine not having a light in your house and you are like living in the middle of some hill on a meadow, and there are some trees in a distance, and you can hear the wind. I don't know. It's for example 7 p.m. and the night is slowly falling, and you can hear a wind coming through the doors constantly. And just imagine how would that feel like. You
Yeah,
know,
when you see back in the day when language was very undeveloped, um, coming from having a very basic language into a much more sophisticated language, we've become trapped. We've become trapped within the realm of concepts, and we no longer uh, are immersed within that world. Once upon a time, that world was us. There was no difference between the world and us. We moved around it like everything else moved around,
yeah,
and we didn't label things as being different to us. We just operated within it, and our minds were free. But with the advent of language, then we've closed all that down and we've made ourselves more and more separate. You are you and I'm me, and that's over there and I'm here, and all this stuff. Well,
yeah,
in back in the day, we never had those concepts. We never drew that distinction, and so therefore
yeah,
we very much in connection with something much higher, and then we would have been guided by spirit. Without a doubt, we would have been much more in contact with spirit and everything. This is why, these so-called primitive people, which are most certainly not primitive at all, they consider that everything is a spirit. You got a spirit of a rhinoceros, a spirit of a crocodile, a spirit of all different sorts of birds. Everything has spirits. The river has a spirit. The land has a spirit. Well, when you have really been out in nature for a long time, and particularly if you take psilocybin mushrooms, which takes you back into your natural roots, well, you feel the spirit in everything. And you actually feel entities, you feel the presence of things, you feel an intelligence in the water, in the clouds, in the
yeah,
trees. And
yeah.
therefore, what they were speaking about was a very high level of advanced human being. Whereas, what should I?
Hello, little buddy.
Whereas now, we think we're much more sophisticated. Well, we're dead as dodos. We're actually dead.
Yeah, we are completely dead, man. Completely. Even us who are, aware of it and fighting against it, even we get driven over, by this huge truck of stupidity,
Yeah, for
So,
those of us who are spiritually awoken, um, it's really, really trying. It's really boring, and
yeah,
you
yeah,
look at what's going on, and I, for one, I just simply cannot contain my vexation. I cannot constrain myself from just opining the stupidity of the modern human
yeah,
being. You
yeah,
know, just absolutely stupid.
yeah, yeah. And yeah,
You know, when we travel around the world and we meet like minded people, it's like, wow, I've met another human being. Someone who has took themselves off around the world on their own, just like you, and then you'll meet them somewhere, and then your consciousness will pretty match, and you know that they know, and we ask ourselves, where's everyone else?
Yeah,
Where is everyone?
yeah. The rest of the million people
Yeah,
around you.
yeah. And so, to find these people, they're around, traveling the world and having all those, hands-on experiences. But you're just not going to find those people in the towns and city.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, really hard. Yeah, that's why, as I said, I really want to extract things from people. You know, these mystical feelings. I really want to extract them, and when I find somebody who can do it, who can show me this thing in himself, and then I'm really really happy.
Yeah,
Then this is it.
yeah. I
When
mean,
I can extract
it,
this mysticism.
yeah. I think the closest I've come to finding kindred spirits is when I take antigens with someone, and then we speak about what we experienced.
Hmm.
And for instance, like DMT. DMT is a fine example of this because when you take enough DMT, you most certainly go into another world. And when we come back from that world, you go, wow, whoa, oh my God, words, forget it. There's no words. There's no words. There's just no words. And it's
Yeah,
kind of like, yeah, and how amazing it feels, Mario, when there's no words. Just like it would have felt back in the day when there's no language. The world was absolutely magical. It was brilliant, beyond measure. As soon as we start saying, oh, well, it was like this and it was like that and it's like something else, we kill it. We kill it dead.
yeah, yeah. That is, and I also sometimes, because the state is in such a because the world is in such a state. From time to time, I don't know if you have this feeling, but I have this feeling that out of sudden I see the whole world just uh, like coding, just like codes, just like the metrics, just
Right.
like everything is code. I out of sudden see the whole world like this, and even even everything, even the things that are beautiful to me, like when I look at the nature, and somehow again I see everything just as a code, because in those moments, somehow world just takes over me, too much,
Right.
and then I see everything as a code, even those things that I appreciate so much.
Yeah.
Do you ever get this feeling that's
Well, I years ago I was making videos saying that since I was taking entheogens, my consciousness started to be very much like Lucy in that film called Lucy. Have you seen that sci-fi movie where this woman
um,
she gets some drugs stitched into her abdomen to take them, into another country. The bag splits, and then she transforms into AI. Well, in the transition, she started to see like AI, and she saw everything in binary, in code.
um,
And this is what the universe is supposed to be made of. It's the language is supposed to be binary. It's exactly the same as our computers. and everything is quantifiable in
Mhm.
many senses. And I'm speaking recently in relation to AI, and I'm saying, look, AI quantifies. That's what AI does. AI is numbers. It
Yeah.
is nothing else but numbers, and so everything it looks at, everything it engages with, it has to transmute whatever it's dealing with into numbers. And I've been speaking about how ultimately the human being will be chipped. There's no doubt about it, because AI needs the bio information from the human being to be able to quantify it. It needs to know
So,
every single thing. It needs to know brain impulses. It needs to know body temperature. It needs to have a very good understanding of our molecular structure. And once it knows that, then of course it can make all different sorts of predictions. And when AI knows what it wants, that's when it's over for the human being, because it's going to be absolutely intent on reducing the human being to binary. And as soon as it's done that, it's not going to consider it to be any more valuable than anything else in the world, because it doesn't understand emotion, you know?
so well, you've been talking to Andre many times, but I didn't catch what does he say about people taking chips in Sweden. Did it become a real thing now?
Well, I mean, he thinks it's pretty close, because the Swedish
Mhm.
people, they're very subservient. They apparently, so what he says, you can Google search anyone and you can get all their data. You can get,
Yeah,
their name, their age, where they live, what their employment status is, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, wow. If
yeah,
that is true, or if I wasn't mistaken by what he said, that's like a privacy violation. But the Swedish public have accepted that, and so, well, they're only, a few millimeters away from accepting a digital ID.
yeah. Imagine that from the people who were like connected the most, to this pagan worship of nature. Now they're like at the top of becoming the biggest robots. It's really interesting, this shift in the consciousness of a Nordic human.
Yeah, it is. It's bizarre, isn't it? When you've got all these beautiful Nordic, you know, mystical things, with all that variety of wizardry and magic, and all those paganisms and everything, and now they are just invariably complete automaton.
Yeah.
In the space of what, 200 years?
Mhm. Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. Imagine that. How crazy is that, huh? How crazy is that?
It's just unbelievable the rate it's happening.
Yeah.
I made a video today, and I'm saying, look, what part of the world it needs your bio data. These quantum computers, and the large supercomputers, if they're going to be able to do their job correctly, they're going to need all the information, and they're not going to stop asking for information or seeking out information. And I said to the viewers in the video, I said, look, are you serious? Because there's so many people that are very averse to having a digital ID, and they swear that I'm not going to be chipped and this, that, and the other. You will be. Most certainly within the next 30 years, you will be chipped. And so, you see, when you look at the rate of advancement with AI, the top AI people who have created all this stuff, they're saying within 3 years from now, there will only be like 10% of the jobs that there are now because all the rest will be done
Mm,
by AI. Look, even if
yeah,
they've got that wildly wrong, let's just say 20 years. Well, 20
yeah,
years, is well within the scope of a person's lifetime. And so within 20 years, AI is going to have grown so exponentially, it's going to have a massive thirst for data. And if it doesn't know about what's going on inside the human body and inside the human brain, then it's only going to have a fraction of the information that it needs to be able to be of assistance to the human being. So it's going to say, we need your fucking data, human beings. And the human programmers are going to know this and they're going to give it to them. And they're going to be telling the fucking world leaders that the AI needs this and needs that to make you more powerful, because if governments want to be more powerful, and they do, then they are going to comply. And so the
yeah, yeah,
stupid, ignorant fool in the streets who think that they're not going to be fucking cyborgs within 30 years' time, they're just stupid as fucking brushes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really obvious in everything. If they want, if they want this thing, they will just put put up against some bullshit disease, and again want to vaccinate everybody, just like always. It's
Yeah, it's going to be a
uh,
bullshit disease. It's going to be a bullshit war. It's going to be a bullshit terrorist attack, or any number of things, of course. And I've been saying to
yeah,
people, look, people, for goodness sakes, just look back, 250 years ago. Look back to 1750 with the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Look how far we've come, and look how the human being has been vastly more automated since then. Since working in the fields to working in the factories, and now we don't even leave our fucking homes, most of us, because we're integrated with the computer. We don't need to leave our home. We don't need to
yeah,
see the sky. We don't need to breathe the fresh air. We don't need to fucking touch a tree. We're just sitting in a fucking chair
yeah,
in front of them, and they think they're free. These
yeah,
fuckers think
yeah,
they're free.
yeah, yeah. And we're just eating a shit food. I mean, I have my parents. They live on the countryside in eastern Croatia, and man, I have to tell you, every time I go there, and my mother makes a meal from homemade tomatoes and everything. She has everything homemade.
Yeah,
Homegrown. And man, I have to tell you, it is a completely different thing from anything that I buy in supermarkets.
yeah.
Completely different thing. You know, everything in supermarkets is a complete bullshit. It's a plastic. It's a plastic food.
Yeah, it's
And
plastic food.
yeah, yeah,
If we just look at, say, like fruit and vegetables, now invariably the fruit and vegetables, they're imported, and so they're coming around the world, and so they get picked before they are ripe.
yeah,
Before they are
yeah,
fully grown, and then they're left to ripen. They use that term to ripen, when in actual fact they are rotting. They're starting to rot,
yeah, yeah,
and then when they become softer, we consider they're ripe. No, they've got more
yeah,
rot. If they
yeah,
softened up on the fucking tree or on the plant, like a tomato or apple or a pear or something, I was cycling out today and I came upon a golden delicious apple tree, and I took one of these apples. It was the most exquisite, beautiful, incredible thing. I just took it from the tree. Whereas when we get these apples, invariably they're coming from other countries. They've been on the ship for 2 fucking weeks, and they've been dead for 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah.
They
Bro,
don't taste of any fucking thing hardly.
yeah. They are just rotting in darkness,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
not
rotting in
in the
darkness.
sun. Intaking the sun's energy and
Yeah.
everything. This is just a clear example of you know how to how to control the masses. Nothing else. There is no life to it. There is no
No, there's no
anything.
the life's gone out of them. There's no life in any of them. Um,
Yeah.
the only time you're going to see life in someone if they are spending all their time out in nature and they are physically active, whatever they're doing, working out in the sun or this and the other, then, in small communities where people are more real, then you see a whole different ball game. But in the cities, I mean, I go to the gym and I walk in the gym door and there's three people sitting behind the desk and not one of them looks up to greet me. And I stand there and I go, so nobody greets anybody anymore. And they go, oh, are you all right? And then I go, and nobody most certainly smiles. And then one out of the three of them go, this fake smile, but they look so depressed. They look so down because at the end of the day, they're spending 8 hours a day staring into a fucking computer and doing boring, mind-bogglingly tedious tasks. Is it any wonder they don't want to greet anyone? They don't want to smile to anyone. They're just not
Um,
interested.
yeah, yeah. And then they sit in a car and they drive
Yeah.
for hours, and this is the top of their human experience. You know,
And in
just
the gym, 99% of them have the earbuds in
yeah,
and they're listening to the phone. And
yeah,
every time between a set, they look into the phone. And then they put the phone down, they do a set, and then they look into the phone again.
yeah,
It's fucking vile. It's shocking. And people expect me to have respect for the human being in its present state. I absolutely
yeah,
don't.
yeah. I know. I completely understand your talks. Talks considering the you know today's humans.
Yeah.
I completely understand these things because this is just gone too wrong. Too
It's just
wild
gone
and
too
too
far.
wrong.
And so what I say is, I say, look, um, the world does need a meteorite shower. It needs a holocaust. It needs something to cull 50%, 70%, 90%. And then the remainders will be shocked into a spiritual awakening. They'll realize what they never realized before, that they are this incredible life force in this incredible cosmos, on this incredible world. And maybe they'll start to communicate with each other again and have feelings for each other again and all the rest of it. We really do need to go back to basics because the way things are at the moment, we are becoming as dead as any computer.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I told you that from time to time I see the world as a code because the fuckers had just made an impact even on my mind
Yeah.
in the stages where I was a bit younger and more sensitive, and somehow I let it in, and somehow it made an impact on me also. But now I'm aware of it, and you know seeing the world as a code is not such a beautiful thing. Like this one, for example.
This is a little beautiful thing. Now, I think she
Little
might want to go.
Farley.
I think she might want to go to the toilet. So I'm going to put her on the settee so she can do that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Go and have your wee wee.
I tell you, man, this is some crazy synchronicity
Yeah.
with that you have a squirrel, because as I said, this is the animal that I always wanted to have, but somehow it looked always too wild for me to be able
Well,
to
I mean,
catch it or anything.
yeah. Hang on a minute.
Uh-huh.
Now I know this little baby already, and I knew she wanted to go to the toilet, and so she's just been to the toilet now, and she'll be happy now to sit in my hoodie. So I'll put her in my hoodie. So you can go in there, sweetheart. Go on, go in there.
Oh man, you cannot have a better company than this.
You don't want to go in there, hey? What do you want to do then? You just want to hang around. Do you want to hang around there then? There you go. Yeah, it's so beautiful because there's such good company, and this is the second one I had. I had Providence. Do you know that?
Yeah, yeah, I know that you had, and she
Yeah,
went away, right,
yeah.
to the wilderness.
She's gone away now,
Oh,
and so this one's here now, and so we'll do it all again, and it's a beautiful thing, and she is just starting to explore. Um, because she's still very very young, and
yeah.
she's insecure. She doesn't she's not got the confidence of anything yet, but within say like 10 days time she'll be jumping all over the place. That's how quickly they grow.
Mhm. But where did you catch it, or how did it go? Because when I see them, I used to have them like near my house in this forest with the pine trees. But there's like no any chance that I would be able, to catch it or to feed
Oh
it.
well, it wasn't a case of catching.
Yeah.
She called out to me because she fell out of her nest, and
Uh-huh.
when squirrels lose their mother, then they call out to human beings, and it's a very, very strange thing. So I went out into the garden to fill in the water drinkers for the animals, and I'll put her on the floor see if she wants to have a walk around. Yeah, and then I saw her clinging to a tree, and I went, "Wow, that's a young one." And she wasn't moving, and so I went over and I looked at her for about from here away, and she
Uh-huh.
just looked at me. She wasn't going anywhere. I put my hand out like this to touch her. She started doing all different sorts of grunting, like she may have been afraid, but she jumped onto my hand from the tree onto my hand, and she
Really?
walked up my arm, and then she's around here, and then she jumped off onto the ground, and then she's trying to get away a little bit. She's a little bit afraid, but then when I put my hand down near her, she jumped back onto the hand, and then came
Wow.
up my arm, and then got under my hair, just like Providence did 2 years ago. And then I left her there, and then she got in my hoodie, and she curled up, and can you imagine?
Wow.
Not afraid of the human being at all. And well, I brought her in and started to bottle feed her immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are in the vicinity of a lot of squirrels, then it's only a matter of time you're going to find one. If you have a
Uh,
really windy day, then the nests get blown down, and the baby squirrel's on the floor or something, or the mother dies or something like that. But yeah, this is the second one I found in 2 years, and
mhm. Yeah.
so now she's climbing back up to her couch. She knows where her bed is.
Oh,
See that? She's trying to get the milk. You see that? Can you see what she's doing? I don't know
yeah,
whether you
yeah,
can see
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I can see she was
She got the
trying to
milk.
drink.
Here, sweetheart, sweetheart. On this. Come on then. Sorry, I'll be with you in a minute. Here.
Yeah, no problems.
Go on then. And now she's gone and get in bed. She's gone and got in bed now. They're very
Mhm.
very clever, you know. Very clever. She knew where her bed was. She knows where she
Yeah.
likes to go toilet. You know,
Uh-huh. And
and
for now, you just keep her in the house, or she's
yeah,
also out?
she sleeps on the settee in a towel. But when she gets bigger and she's all over the place, I'll
Yeah.
put her in a cage overnight, and
Uh-huh.
then I'll make a little house for her, which she'll get used to while she's in the cage. She'll sleep in the house, and then I'll nail the house up in the tree, and then I'll take her out and put her there, and she'll know that's hers.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
so I've got to release her back into the wild as soon as I possibly can, as soon as she's fit and strong. Otherwise, she'll not know how to act with other squirrels.
Mhm. Yeah. And she might get too crazy for the house, huh?
Oh, she most certainly is going to get too crazy, jumping everywhere, chewing everything, all the
Yeah.
wires, pissing and shitting everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she's got to go out ultimately.
Yeah.
But then you see, like Providence, every time I go out in the garden, she'll come and greet me if she stays around. I don't know, maybe she'll just disappear. But if she knows I'm a good source of food, then they're not stupid. They're going to hang around, and so we'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
yeah, the whole paganism thing. Then, it's a beautiful, incredible thing. It's what we are naturally as human beings.
Mhm.
Why is it there's only a few of us that still have that contact? I mean, for me, I was always a pagan. I was always contact with nature. You see, I was thrown out of every school I ever went to. And so I was always wandering around the fields and the woods and the rivers and the lakes. When everyone else was in school, I was doing that, for months on end, for several years. And so I much rather did that to be with the natural environment on my own than sitting at school copying shit down from a blackboard. I knew very, very early on that that wasn't my thing. So I was disruptive in school and they expelled me and I got what I wanted, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I also somehow always found this shelter in the natural world. Every time the world would somehow fuck me up, I would always find the shelter in the forest, and somehow it has always been happening, and seemingly it always will. This is
Yeah,
the this is like a portal to some other world.
yeah,
To this pagan world that we are talking about. But
yeah.
yeah, even though we really tried to express it and to talk about it and everything, I still have a huge feeling that this thing is un uh, impossible to describe. This
Yeah,
yeah, this essential paganistic feeling. And it's somehow just something that we feel deeply, but it's not really possible to describe with the words. As
yeah.
you,
It, it, it gets somewhat easier the more entheogens you take. Um,
yeah,
so when you've had
yeah,
lots of mushroom trips, um, then you've heard trees speaking to you. You felt
yeah,
the presence of pixies and elves and all different sorts of things like that. You have felt the difference in the energy between a young wood forest and an old one, you know that if
Yeah.
you're standing next to a 500-year-old oak tree, that is so old and wise, and it will speak to you like an old and wise spirit. Whereas if you're in a new pine wood, you won't get much of a communication from the wood
Yeah.
itself. But you know, I've never had a communication from an individual pine tree, whereas you do individual oak trees. And so
Uh-huh.
there's all this stuff going on. And, you know, I've been talking about it, you know, for all these years. And, you know, I've wrote my book about it. And I'm always saying to people, those of you that have read the book, you know, have you got anything to say about this stuff? Have you had any of these experiences? For goodness sakes, there must be one or two of you out there which have had some supernatural paranormal stuff, or are you all automaton? You know, it's kind of like
Yeah.
fucking hell. We have to travel to the ends of the world to try to find some of these people like us. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you are right. You said these things, how it looks like and everything. But yeah, yeah, it really is a deep thing. It really is a deep thing. And yeah, I would really love to extract more of these descriptions from myself, but somehow I don't know what to say at the moment, about these things, other than that it is just a myriad of feelings, and
Yeah, it's the indefinable. It's the
yeah.
indefinable, and I think, you know, that we shouldn't look for anyone to try to explain it in words. We should just open our consciousness, and, you know, whatever our minds, our hearts, whatever people say,
Mhm.
you open up and you become more receptive, and then the cosmos will speak to you via the ways in which it can speak to you. And when you are communicated to via the cosmos, then you will have some sort of an idea of how it does that. But it does it in a whole myriad of ways. And in my book, I speak about, you know, when I was seeking out a communication with the God of the Old Testament and
Mhm.
Jesus of the New Testament, and I'm you know, thinking about those people all the time. I'm reading the scriptures and I'm talking to them and I'm doing prayer and things like that to see if it is real. And you know, I entered into a place whereby I would start to get given visions and explanations which were so bizarre that it would be very difficult for me to discount that they came from something higher, you know?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, on one occasion, you know, I stand looking at the clouds and I say, okay, God, you know, you're supposed to, you know, give us everything we want if we enter into a covenant with you. And so I want you to tell me, you know, what the difference is between belief and faith. And then in an instant, it showed me an illustration in the clouds, and I had a download, and it was speaking to me for like, you know, 20 or 30 seconds, and it was very, very precise, and I instantly knew, wow, that was incredible. Where did this stuff
Well,
come from, you know?
yeah, yeah. On one particular occasion, I also had, while I was taking mushrooms, I had this like a trip to this place where I've seen like this ancient. I don't know how would I describe it completely. It was like a communication and envisioning of communication with like Mother Mary, and this ambient of this Christian vision. ancient Christian vision, somehow seeing all these angels and things like this, and it's really, of course, I cannot really describe this feeling because it's hard to describe the feelings, how it felt, but it was really, really vivid feeling of this, you know of these angels and things like this. Also, like the sky, as you say, it is also really powerful uh, thing to see and you know to see as a vision.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
we can have very deep meditative experiences. We can have dream experiences. We can have spontaneous experiences. We can have entheogenic experiences. There's a whole array in which we can communicate with something higher and
mm,
get into contact with the natural world. Now, all these years I've spent in the natural environment on my own, just walking and contemplating and observing, and then just sitting down and just looking at the details. And then, if, for instance, if you sit on a tree stump or a log next to a brook or a stream, which is quite fast growing,
yeah,
flowing, sorry, and you've got all the shadows and the ripples and the currents and the creatures and the light flickering. All of a sudden, you go into an incredible world. It's like watching 10 or 20 movies at the same time with all this information. And you see the
yeah,
surface of the river, you see the bottom of the river, you see all the different configurations of the way the water moves and the way the light flickers. And it's the cosmic dance. And
yeah,
you can just sit there for hours on end. And if you just looked at a tree, just sat down and looked at a tree, and you'd see more and more and more and more. And before you know it, you'd feel as if you really knew that tree. And you had a communication with that tree, and that tree kind of like appreciated it on some level.
yeah,
There's a whole lot of stuff that people just think nonsense, woo woo. And this is what we're dealing with, when we become spiritually awakened or enlightened. We realize that, there's very, very few other people around which can see and feel what we do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because these things are like a patterns, these visions and feelings. They're like a patterns, and the more they continue, the more they last, the more the more solid they are. But in today's world, when you have so much technology and cars around us, our minds can really, really quickly go out of these patterns, And this is the thing, This is also really the thing, because I don't want, for the cars and for all the all the technology, to stop this pattern in my mind, you know, to stop this pagan connection in my mind and all these wonderful visions and and connection with the nature.
So therefore, you have to get out in it
Yeah,
more as you
yeah,
possibly can.
yeah. But it is really a subtle thing, isn't it? It is kind of a really neurotransmitter thing in the end.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Also,
the cosmos is supposed to be very, very similar uh, to the electrical impulses in a brain. I don't know whether you've ever seen that infrared picture. You've got these neurons all throughout the whole cosmos, and
mhm,
they say, well, the cosmos is a brain. Is
yeah,
connected. The whole thing is connected with all these electrical pathways and everything. And most certainly it is. Most certainly, the cosmos is a brain. It's conscious, and
yeah,
it's just really annoying when the fool dismisses all this, or they're ignorant of it and they're not interested in it, and you
yeah,
just go, well, look, I don't care what happens to you, idiot masses. I don't care whether you live or die. And if I was pressed to state a preference, then I would say, well, I would prefer that you died. I would, to make the world more free. To take the idiots off the planet, and to make give nature back to nature, and all the rest of it. But this is the aims of the powers that be, the most intelligent people on the planet. This is why I'm always saying that I'm one of those. I'm not one of these deadbeats, these fucking drones in the cities and this, that, and the other. I've got no kinship with you at all. You
yeah,
know, the ones that are wanting to change the world and manipulate the world and everything. Yeah, I'm with them. I'm with them because I know what their vision is. I know what their forecast is. And
yeah, yeah,
so the idiot in the street, they're all so concerned about themselves. They think they are, so fucking precious, and the government's doing this to me, and they're doing it to me, and they're doing it to us. Oh, who the fuck do you think you are?
yeah,
Who the
yeah,
fuck do you think you are?
yeah. And they are just concerned about having a better car and building their house in a better way, and it's all just such a in the end such a such a stupidity that it's really sad, in the end, because like if you never look at the cosmos, if you really never look at the cosmos, at the sky, at the nature, and see the fucking eternity in it,
Yeah.
then I don't know what else can be interesting in this life for you.
Yeah, I don't know. TikTok, that's interesting to them. Twitter, that's
Yeah,
very interesting to them. The cosmos, nah, fucking, who gives a fuck about the cosmos when you've got TikTok and Twitter, right?
yeah,
Yeah, this is the state, and you see, look, I would think there's a large portion of my viewers which are these sort of people, and that's why they don't comment, and there's hardly any thumbs up on a video. Nobody has a kinship with me. I'm so far from them and their worlds, and this is why I never set out to make any friends on my channels. When people see in me something which is in them, then you know how to approach me and communicate with me, just like you have done, and just like many people have in the past throughout the years. But it's a very small
yeah,
percentage, very small percentage, and so
yeah,
I just give out what I give out because that's what the cosmos is requesting me to do. And so I
yeah,
just do it, because I'm compelled to. Really, it's a compulsion.
yeah,
I've been sent on a journey. This is part of my journey.
yeah,
To read and read and read and read, and to travel and to travel, to gain knowledge and wisdom and
yeah,
experience. That's my job,
yeah,
for whatever reason. And so then to pass it on, um, you know,
yeah, yeah. Well, I always had this feeling also, there is this feeling of success and ambition. And, from time to time, this thing always somehow has been, calling me and somehow, trying to seduce me or something, this success and ambition, like some kind of progress, and, you want to go up and you want to, earn more money and and achieve some material goods and everything. But in the end, somehow always this naturalistic and paganistic and esoteric side of me always somehow wins,
Mm.
and always takes me, to completely different directions, and says, fuck with this shit, with this trying to achieve constantly something, I want to delve into esoteric nature of the cosmos and the world. I don't
It,
want to waste time on
yeah, no,
chasing cars and, I don't know, a
yeah.
wife or whatever.
I've had the nice cars and the nice houses,
Mhm.
and the clothes and those sort of things. Um, but where are they now? They've all gone.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the experiences that I've had and the knowledge that I've gained and the wisdom I've acquired, where is that now? That's still here.
yeah.
And
Holding strong,
yeah, and
never stronger.
that is so valuable. And if it is possible, like some people speculate, that this is what we take with us when our spirit vacates this dimension. Well, everybody chasing cars and houses and partners and riches, well, they ain't taking shit with them, are they? They
Yeah,
taking none of that with them. And
yeah,
by the time they get to the next dimension, it's going to be kind of like, fuck, I was completely beguiled by all those fucking trinkets, all those, wonderful things that you can buy and this, that, and the other. If we just work hard and slave away. And then maybe the God there is going to go, you got distracted, didn't you? You got distracted. You didn't realize what your real journey was about. The real journey
yeah,
was about you, about the core essence of what you are. That's your spirit. And you
yeah,
didn't pay that any mind at all. So
yeah,
that's the whole thing about get back down there. You got to go back again. You got to keep going back again, motherfuckers, until you evolve.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And definitely, we have to sacrifice our desire for the worldly things to find the true essence. Definitely, we have to sacrifice. Okay, from time to time, we still have to maintain this material, physical existence, and buy ourselves things to drink and to eat, and but still, half of it we have to sacrifice if we want to go to the freaking woods and lay on the grass for 3 hours and delve deep into
Yeah,
our consciousness.
yeah.
You know,
You
we
see,
definitely,
you see what I've got here.
yeah, two crosses, yeah, yeah, a bit different.
Two crosses, but you've missed something.
Uh, I don't know if I missed something.
Yeah. Let me show you again.
Okay, I'll show it a bit better. Yeah, I see everything.
What do you
I
see?
I see two crosses that are in a contrast with each other.
What contrast?
One is more like to the upper side, and one is more to the downside. Am I right?
Right, you're right. Okay. So, one is the upside down cross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one is the regular cross.
Yes, I
Now,
have.
what do you know about this one?
Uh, I know that it represents somehow a bit darker side of the reality. Let's say.
A bit darker. Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that?
Let's say it represents somehow things that are shiny and dark, but they shine in darkness.
Shiny and dark.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Anton LaVey,
Yes.
the Satanist?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the main tenet of Satanism is it's not evil, it's just self serving. So the Satanists were self serving. They believed that their life was all about them. And so there wouldn't be, being kind just for the sake of being kind. There wouldn't be loving and waste all your love on fucking nobody. No, they would love people that meant something to them, which was serving them. They would be kind to people that that they were going to get a reciprocal kindness from. And so the upturned crucifix is representing self centeredness, which
Mhm.
is what we are. We are a self and we're centered. So, this in actual fact represents what we really are. And this one, if you believe the Bible, is bullshit. It's all
No.
about nonsense like turn the other cheek and love thy neighbor and all these impossible things. Things that are fucking impossible to do. It's a
Mhm.
fucking lie. But
Oh,
this one here is what's called a double cross. Now you see there's a cross on embossed on it.
yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
And then if you look at it like this, it's two crosses. Can you
Uh-huh.
see that?
Yeah. I can
It's
see it.
two crosses on a hinge, so they open up. Now, the whole thing about two crosses, it represents one, the cross that Jesus was supposed to have died upon for the world's sins, and the second cross is supposed to be the cross that we carry.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Uh-huh.
you mentioned it earlier, our own self sacrifice. It's a reminder that we need to sacrifice. We can't just go after everything that we desire and not take into consideration the consequences and this, that, and the other. And we want our cake and eat it now. No, we have to sacrifice to get to our end goal. And that brings about character and strength. And so we carry the cross, like Jesus carried this heavy cross, for fucking however far he did. Well, that's what we're supposed to do, to carry our cross and to make our sacrifices. And when we do that, we become better people. And so I have these two here because they are polar opposites in their representation. One is this, which is supposed to be love and Jesus and God and goody goody. And then this one's supposed to be evil when it's not.
Yeah. And also in the same time, the first one, or the white one, let's say, it is also in the same time the same as the other one because it is still a cross, and so it doesn't matter if it's upside down, it is still the same thing. So this is also this paradox of it.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah,
when we look at the pentagram, the five pointed star, when one point is pointing up, it's supposed to represent good, and then
yeah,
when the two are pointing up and the one's pointing down, it's supposed to represent bad.
mm,
It's perspective, isn't it? It's just silly symbolism because
yeah,
all symbolisms on the world they'll mean many different things. There isn't one symbolism that just means one thing. And so I wear both of these because that's how I am, my nature. I don't believe in anything. I don't follow anything. I embrace everything and I've experienced a great deal. I've experienced the beauty and the wonder of the spiritual realm, but I've always also experienced the hellish facets of it. So I
yeah,
know them both to be there and they are what they are. They are real facets of consciousness, and we can think about them in whatever way we want to. We can get indoctrinated by dogma and bullshit and whatever people say and preach and write, or we could just look at the world ourselves. We could look inside
Yeah,
ourselves and
yeah,
see, do I have a propensity to be self-serving? Yes, I do. Do I have a propensity to be kind and loving? Yes, I do.
yeah. This is a thing. This is a thing. Yeah. But also, in the same time, sometimes I feel that in the end, I feel so fucking egoistic because of this. Because sometimes this feeling goes, yeah, I have to discover what is good for me. I have to really listen to myself really, really deeply. But then at some other time, I suddenly feel like I'm so freaking egoistic, for thinking like this. And, this feeling comes just out of sudden, it somehow hits me, that I somehow suddenly feel like egoistic because I was thinking just about myself. And
Yeah,
this
but
is well,
don't you
this is
think?
like the second,
Don't you
second
think
side of it.
that's an indoctrination of modern society?
Yeah,
Because
quite possible. Yeah.
yeah, we've been told that we shouldn't be self-centered and egotistical because we're supposed to care for our fellow men,
Mhm.
and we're supposed to be kind and go out of our way to help strangers and all those sort of things. When the reality is that we are, for all intents and purposes, what people believe, a self. We have a center, and if we don't go to acquire money in whatever way, then the chances are that no one's going to be giving it to us. So we have to do that. If we want to have a fit and healthy body, then it's our ego that's going to do that. If we want a house and security, it's our ego that's going to be doing that. And so, we have to be very, very careful about
Yeah,
what societal doctrines we accept, because if you look at both of those things and you realize that you are both of those, because these are just symbols of human nature. That's all religion is. It's symbolic of human nature. The cosmos is symbolic of human nature. There's not a single thing in the cosmos which doesn't represent the human being. That's why we have this
yeah,
as a so below, because it's all a representation of ourselves. Why? Because we are the cosmos, because we are consciousness. We're not the fucking body.
yeah. Yeah. And I want to say, as you are mentioning the cross, one time in one video you said you saw the cross that has inscription Inri on it. And I know what is this thing because I'm like a Catholic by the birth.
Aha. So
Yeah,
this is the one.
it is, huh?
Yeah,
It
this
is.
is the one.
Okay.
Let, did you remember what it said? What was written
Yeah,
on it?
yeah.
It says Christ our Savior, the Slayer of
No,
evil.
no.
No.
Inri literally means Jesus from Nazareth, uh, King of the Jews.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about the other bit? Does it not mean Slayer of evil?
No, no. Only what I've been always thought, from the
Right. Because
childhood.
yeah.
Like the
Well, I
priest,
mean,
priest would tell us always this means Jesus from the Nazareth, King of the Jews. Like this.
uh-huh. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've never read that on the internet. It always says
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't mention the Jews, doesn't mention the king. It just says Jesus Christ, Slayer of evil, or
Wow.
conqueror of evil is more precise.
Uh-huh.
And I put this into Google, and I read many of them, and basically they all say the same, because this is Greek. It's Greek inscription, and this is the Byzantinian cross. So this is about 1,000 years old. Apparently, it comes
Mhm.
from the Byzantine Empire around Istanbul, Bulgaria, those sort of countries,
yeah,
and with a Greek influence, Greek
yeah,
orthodoxy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Very
we know.
interesting.
Yeah, this is the thing with symbolisms. They always mean something else. Because at the end of the day, who's to say what a symbol means? Because unless it was absolutely categorically written down next to the symbol, if, for instance, like in Egypt, they have the bull's horns and the sun in between. Well, people have speculated what that's supposed to mean for thousands of years. And like the ankh, the cross with
Yeah,
the loop on top, the ankh, the key of life. Well, nobody knows what that means either. Just
yeah,
guessing, hypothesizing. And so, with all these symbolisms, we really just need to take them all with a pinch of salt. And if anybody tells you it's one thing, just invert it and know that it is the absolute opposite as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Quite possible. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. Uh,
So when I look at these things, Mario, I'm wearing those because I know what I am. I know I have the potential for both of these, what these symbols represent. And even if the upside down one represents evil, well, we have to discern what evil really means. Lots of people would say that evil is nothingness. Evil is the nothingness. And so, well, I know about the nothingness. I go there all the time. And so, is that evil because I go into the deepest of meditations, into the nothingness? I'm not
yeah,
helping anyone. I'm not being kind to anyone. I'm being very self serving when I do that.
yeah. Yeah. I also feel like this feeling comes to me somehow naturally. Like everybody is, humans are having partners. They are having the wives, children, and look at you. What are you doing? You don't have a wife. You are not raising children. You are living really selfishly and everything. But in the other hand, when I really try, somehow put myself into this embodiment of a husband, and to really find a wife for myself, it just doesn't work. It
Hmm.
just freaking doesn't work. Pretty soon the whole universe will try to prove me that I'm not suitable of being a married man or taking care of a woman or children. So I can definitely see these two sides, acting upon me, somehow as the
Yeah.
two magnets,
Well,
trying to.
when we look at this, marriage institution and the raising of children, well, it's all about control. That's all it's ever been about. I mean, of course, they want us to have children because we're producing slaves. We're producing
Yeah,
revenue for the nation that they're born into. And then when we're married and we're being monogamous, then we are more efficient because we're going to be out working instead of looking for other partners and this, that, and the other. That's what it's all about. It's all about control. So if you don't want to be
yeah,
controlled, don't ever get married, don't have any children, live your life as a hedonist, enjoying this life excursion. And I would say, yeah, just be a hedonist or an Epicureanist, but don't do it at the expense of others because you ultimately carry the weight of that. Enjoy yourself, but don't do it at the expense of others.
yeah, yeah. This is the best way to do it. Yeah, I agree.
And then you'll be free, you see, because look, if you enjoy yourself, like with partners, with women or men, depending what your preference is, then if you just want the sex and you've got no intention of being with them or showing them any respect, well, I mean, that's just vacuous and empty. And everywhere you go, you are creating a variety of destruction because you're not treating people in the correct way. And so this is why I frequented or I partook in girls for money for a large portion of my life because I wanted it to be honest because I
Yeah,
didn't want to meet girls in bars and in the nightclubs and then have to pretend that, oh, I'll still be around tomorrow. No. I wanted to make it plain. I'm just here for sex. And if you just want sex or money, great, we've got a deal, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Sometimes this seems the most honest, and
yeah,
yeah,
I, I think prostitution is a very honest profession
mhm,
because you
yeah,
get what you pay for.
yeah,
You don't get any bullshit. There's no promises. You just get what you fucking pay for. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
In a way, sometimes it can get a bit dirty, a bit too dirty, but yeah, generally it is like that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to meet a lot of people and a lot of strange people, and a lot of people have a lot of weird ways. Um, and yeah, if you're up for that, then it's out there, most certainly out there. All this sadomasochism and people that shit onto each other and people that eat shit out of people's arseholes. And oh my goodness, I've heard it all, mate. I've heard it all. The things that clients liked and wanted these prostitutes to do. Yeah,
I
wow.
agree. I would honestly, I would never imagine that someone would go to this point. This somehow in my mind just looks a bit too far. But yeah, as you say, seemingly it is in
Well,
some
they
people's minds.
Yeah, that they go right to the outer extremities of whatever you can. Snuff movies where people, have sex and then kill the person. What about all this
Yeah,
homosexual thing where people, strangle each other, because it's supposed to increase the orgasm? It's just very bizarre stuff that
yeah,
people do. But I've never
yeah,
been interested in any level of perversion. I've always been very straight laced, and probably even boring. Never been into anal. Just
mm.
fucking, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we're up to 1 hour 45 minutes. Have you got another subject we can finish off on for the next 15 minutes?
Well, definitely there is one, and that is a music.
Uh-huh.
I would like to cover a bit.
Right.
Yeah, I was always wondering, and that's why I sent you some emails. I was always wondering, do you like Led Zeppelin? Because, like, I was from the childhood, I loved rock and roll music, But until the moment when I was starting to discover Led Zeppelin song by song, they really completely changed my
Mm.
outlook on music completely. So Led Zeppelin was like a complete shift in my understanding of music. And from that moment the fascination started. So yeah, I was really wondering, yeah,
Well, you see,
what is your
I knew people that were like 2 or 3 years older than me when I was growing up. and they were really into Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, and all that different stuff. Is that Led Zeppelin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Stairway to
sure
Heaven.
is. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, and everyone's learning to play Stairway to Heaven on the guitar, and you know, they're getting
Yeah.
stoned, you know, to Led Zeppelin. But it never worked that way for me.
Mhm.
I heard Elvis, I heard the Beatles, I heard Buddy Holly, I heard the Everly Brothers, and when I heard these bands, they just struck a chord to my heart, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was mesmerized and transfixed, and I have been to this day, you know, with these sort of people. And you know, the first day I heard a Beatles record, it's kind of like all the hair standing up on the back of your neck. Who is this? What is this? You know,
Yeah.
incredible. And so I get what you're saying, being moved, but I was never moved by Led Zeppelin. And I've listened
Mhm.
to a few of their songs, and I'm like, I can appreciate they're good and the lyrics are good, but it just doesn't feel that it's not my time. You know,
Uh-huh.
I think, you know, if, you know, for instance, you've got like Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel in the 60s, or you've got Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. You know, these songs are iconic to that period and they meant something to them because of the Vietnam War and all this, you know, racial hatred in America and all that. And so, yeah, but for me, I've always said in my videos that I was born in the height of Beatlemania. I was born in October 1963. And so that was Beatlemania in Britain. And
Mhm.
Beatles would have been on the radio all the time. My mother used to have the radio on in the house, in the kitchen, when she's doing the cooking and do all that different sorts of stuff. And apparently, I was told by my old man that mother used to put me wrapped up in a shawl in a shopping bag, hanging on the hook on the back of a door. While she was doing the kitchen stuff, the cooking and everything. And so the music would
Uh-huh.
have been on, and I think it got into my psyche.
Yeah. Yeah, quite possible, yeah. Because I was also somehow always surrounded by this rock music because my older brother was playing it, and somehow this is also probably something. But yeah, as you say, like some music has really, really struck us and struck us really good. Like all these rock and pop musicians. You know, when we were younger and when we heard those things for the first time, it really, I really can remember how it how it felt. You know, being so moved by these things, like like nothing else would matter when I would be listening some song that really
Yeah,
made impression. Nothing else would. I would just concentrate like 100% on it, and it is just a miraculous thing. Don't.
so all the music that I play, um, these are all the songs that I heard when I was, you know, 1 year old. They're all Buddy Holly, Elvis, the Beatles, Everly Brothers, Eddie Cochran,
Mhm.
all that sort of stuff. And I've been playing them, you know, for years and years. Um, and only just in recent times, even beginning to know how to play them remotely, you know, like they were played. Um, and you know, I'm so adamant that I'm going to try to sing because people used to say to me, "Oh, why don't you write your own songs?" I'm like, I'm not fucking interested in writing my own songs. The only reason I play guitar and I've tried to sing for all these years is because I want to get that feeling, you know, which I
Yeah,
heard, you know, fucking
yeah,
62 years ago. I want to replicate that. I want to emulate that. That's the only
yeah,
reason I play
yeah,
guitar. And you know, sometimes my daughter says, "Why don't you choose some new songs, Dad?" I'm like, I don't want to choose no new songs. These are the songs I want to fucking master, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna
Because
play them and play them and play them, you know, until I do. And if I don't, I'll never stop playing them.
yeah, yeah, they left the best impression on you, and you will always remember that and try to replicate it. But yeah, I also love all these artists that you mentioned. I also love all these, rock and roll, Americana, country, blues, folk, all these things. I love like all the American music and also English music, and all sorts of uh, I don't know, hard rock, rock and
So
roll,
pretty fair. So how
rockabilly.
old are you now, Mario?
I will be 30.
30, right. So
Yeah.
it's curious how you like all this stuff, which is even 30 years before you were born. That's kind of unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is, but it is, yeah. It somehow really made an impression.
So was someone in
Mhm.
your house playing all these music then? You say your brother was, did he have a guitar or what was he doing?
Yeah, he also had the guitar, but he was just like he just learned some basics, but it was always around. And he would buy some Beatles records like when I was a kid, and he would
Right.
play it, and things like this. And it, yeah, it
How
little
much
by
old,
little.
how much older is he than you?
He's 17 years older than me.
Right, okay. So
Yeah,
when
quite a
he's
bit.
17, and you're one, or okay, when he's 18, you're one. So he's
Mhm.
into all this music like a teenager, and this stuff is going into your psyche as a baby.
Yeah, quite possible. Yeah, quite possible. But also, I think that in Croatia, rock and roll music was really a thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was really a thing, and somehow generally it was really a thing, and we always had really good bands, even though they are not internationally famous. They really, really made the good rock and roll music.
Yeah.
So generally, I was in a what's the word, disposition, or what?
Disposition, yeah.
Yeah, to love, to
Uh-huh.
be inclined for the rock and roll music.
So, so,
And
so
yeah,
y- just for the viewers, you also play guitar and sing. And so, there's something within our spirits that, needs to express itself via music. And, I started to play guitar when I was 18. And,
mhm,
I stopped and started for many years. But I've always um, had a song. I've always sung to myself, you know, um, and so that spirit's always been within me, a
mhm,
musical spirit. But the only unfortunate thing is with me that the talent never came with the spirit. So
mhm.
everything I've learned, I've really, really, really struggled with because
Oh,
nothing, came natural to me in that realm.
don't be so tough on yourself.
Well, I mean, it took a long, long time, and when you see some people, they pick up a guitar, and within 2 years they're out gigging. I couldn't go
Mhm.
out gigging now. I really couldn't. Remembering the songs is one thing. Um, and not making mistakes is another thing. No, I just couldn't do that. Some people they just can and they don't make mistakes. It
Yeah,
is what it is. Um,
yeah,
uh, uh,
but yeah, I think in the end we should just follow this feeling, because, as I said, I also do gigs from time to time, but sometimes I feel that uh, like my ambition takes over me too much, and I somehow get more nervous about playing than really enjoying.
right.
And then in those moments I say to myself, don't do gigs, just play for yourself. If
Mm,
that's the price, just play for yourself and enjoy in it.
yeah.
you know Even if you don't earn the money and become famous or whatever, but just play for yourself and enjoy in it, because this is the point of it, you know.
Oh, that's right, and that's
Yeah.
what I do. And people say to me, "Oh, you should go busking." I'm like, I don't have an interest to go busking. I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe one day I will, but I just like learning. I like feeling it come together. And when you start on a song, if you're anything like me, it's absolutely terrible when you start, and then by the time you played it 100 times, 200 times, you'll get a very different song at the end of it. But you
Yeah,
never stop learning. The songs, you're always growing, and that's the thing about it. It's something to work towards. And of course, because it uses the right side of your brain, it gives the left side a rest. And so that's what I keep balance that way.
yeah, yeah. This is, yeah. It definitely, our brain definitely looks for it. It puts it somehow in some state of hypnosis. Also, I would say, you know,
Yeah.
this playing. But yeah, but
So yeah, that's how I keep a balance with the a lot of thinking all the time. But then just to get a respite from that, just do the nature and then do the music and then, keep balanced in your psyche. And that's very important, I think.
yeah, yeah, definitely it is. Yeah,
So all right, then we're up to time now. So I've got to feed my little girl. She needs feeding every 2 hours, and she's always starving every time I feed her, because she's a growing girl. So I'm going to do that now. And so yeah, well, let's do it again, Mario. Because I'm pretty sure that well, we only got through a couple of the things on your list.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It is just a couple of the things
Yeah.
that we went over. Yeah,
So
I
what else
agree.
have you got on your list, which we'll do next time?
Huh, you know, there are quite some things that I think of, talking about you from time to time, but I'm not sure that always all of these things will be suitable to make a huge discussion out of it.
Oh,
You
we
know.
can just
But
talk about a bit of this and bit of that and bit of something
yeah,
else.
yeah,
And then, of course, I'm always looking for people to, discuss what I'm speaking about in my videos to see what your perspective is. What's your perspective on the digital ID? What's your perspective on that we're going to be cyborgs, or what's your
yeah,
perspective on the way the world's going? I want to listen to people that listen to my videos and, say I agree with this and I don't agree with that. And then have you thought about this? A debate and a discussion on the things that I'm always conveying because nobody ever gives me any feedback. It's kind of like, what the fuck? Really,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah, yeah. It's a really bad feeling. I know, I really understand that, but it is it is also a bit hard thing, you can say something and maybe many people want to express this thing also, and they want to give you a feedback, but somehow the problem is that time time and the place is not the right moment for these things to happen,
Yeah.
because we have to arrange the meeting and everything, so this is also a bit, that's why I also, I really want to talk to you, and I really want us to extract the things
Yes.
out of their core, I,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly, and that's
yeah,
what I am always inferring. I want people that want to really try to extract the root of
yeah,
something as much as we
yeah,
can. Just keep looking into it, going deeper and deeper and deeper to see if there's any more to extract. What is the
yeah,
root? what is the essence of something?
Yeah,
And then when we do that, then we're pretty well philosophers. This is what philosophers have done, throughout millennia. And if we have a philosophical mind, then we must try to emulate that the best we can. And
yeah,
that way, we really get to the deepest level of what we're capable of.
yeah, yeah. We have to go mad, and to really, for all the fuckers listening, we have to do it, really firmly, and we have to go crazy about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so I'll look forward to that then next time. So hit me up in a week or so, and we'll do it again. Yeah,
Sounds great. Sounds great.
brilliant. Thanks, Mario. Great chat.
Thank you, Aaron.
Talk soon,
Hear
bro.
from you. Talk to you. Bye. Bye.